I work the front desk at a hotel in Copenhagen. An American couple checked in, saw the thermostat reading 22, and immediately freaked out. The husband grabbed my arm. 22 degrees? We're going to freeze. I told him it was Celsius, a perfectly normal room temperature. He stared at me like I was reciting ancient scriptures. Why would you use a broken temperature system? Fahrenheit is more accurate because the numbers are bigger. I explained that 22 Celsius is roughly 72 Fahrenheit. He folded his arms. Then why not just use the real one? I mentioned that almost the entire world uses Celsius. His wife frowned. That seems inefficient. They requested a space heater. At breakfast in 72-degree weather, they showed up wearing winter jackets. These are the moments I record when studying cultural shock. They aren't from textbooks but from actual interactions. Most people laugh at them. I try to understand the mindset behind them. If that kind of insight interests you, you're in the right place. Just last month, an American at our Amsterdam pharmacy asked for Tylenol. We don't carry that brand here. I offered her paracetamol. The same medication. She insisted it wasn't the real version. I pointed out that the chemical compound was identical. She said, if it's the same, why use another name? I explained brand versus generic. She shook her head. Sounds like a scam. A guest in Prague once asked why the gym weights were labeled in kilograms. How am I supposed to know what I'm lifting? Our trainer converted the numbers for him, multiplied by 2.24 to get pounds. He tried one calculation, gave up, and wrote on TripAdvisor that our gym used fake weights. These stories all share one theme: Americans confronting the fact that their units aren't universal. Let me show you what happens when that realization hits hard. I run a gas station outside Munich. An American in a rental car began filling his tank, then rushed inside, furious. Your pump is broken. It says I pumped 47 liters, but my tank only holds 16 gallons. I explained that liters are smaller than gallons. He did some quick math, got confused, and accused me of rigging the pump. 16 gallons is 16 gallons everywhere. I pulled out a conversion chart. 47 liters is about 12 gallons. He narrowed his eyes. That's false advertising. I asked what we supposedly advertised falsely. You made it look like more gas. I told him he paid for exactly what went into the tank. He insisted the system was designed to mislead tourists. His wife snapped a picture of the pump. We're reporting this to the American embassy. I asked on what grounds. Consumer fraud. They left. Later I checked and saw they'd posted a review claiming we scammed them with communist math. Most people stop at the joke, but if you look deeper, that clash between national habits and cultural certainty, that's exactly what we analyze here. Subscribe not to support the channel, but to understand how the world actually thinks. Their review even included their receipt as proof, which clearly showed they were charged correctly. I work at a supermarket in Oslo. An American woman stopped me in produce, holding a bag of apples. Why does this say 10 kroner for 500 grams? I explained it was the price by weight. She frowned. But how many apples is that? I said it depends on the size. You weigh them to find out. She looked offended. In America we sell by the piece, or by the pound. This is intentionally confusing. I offered to weigh her bag. She handed it to me like I might steal it. It came to 650 grams. I calculated the price. She watched me like I was performing sorcery. How do I know that's accurate? I showed her the scale reading. She shook her head. Grams are too tiny to trust. You should use ounces. I said Norway uses the metric system. She sighed dramatically. No wonder Europe's economy struggles. At checkout she made the cashier weigh everything again. Same result. She paid but muttered that proper countries use freedom units. Later her husband complained our scales were suspiciously precise. I'm a taxi driver in Bangkok. An American tourist got in and asked for his hotel. Traffic was typical, busy but moving. Suddenly he shouted, "Slow down! You're going 90. I looked at the speedometer. 90 kilometers per hour. I told him that was about 55 miles per hour, totally legal. He didn't believe me. 90 is 90. Math is universal. I told him to check his phone. His GPS showed 55 miles per hour, and he looked betrayed. This is dangerous. Why make it confusing? I said it's only confusing if you expect Thailand to use US units. He replied, everyone uses miles per hour. I listed the countries that use kilometers. He cut me off. But America invented cars. I mentioned that Carl Benz was German. He dismissed that. Henry Ford made them popular, so miles make sense. I asked if he wanted me to follow the legal speed limit or risk getting pulled over for driving too slowly. He grumbled and let me continue. At the hotel he tipped in US dollars and told me to use real money next time. I manage a stationery shop in Stockholm. An American businessman rushed in, frantic. I need normal paper. I showed him A4 reams. He inspected one. This is wrong. I asked what size he wanted. 8.5 by 11. Standard paper. I explained A4 is our standard, nearly the same size. He held it up to the light, like checking for counterfeits. It's taller and slimmer. My documents won't print correctly. I said his laptop would auto-adjust. He shook his head. These are important contracts. I can't risk weird paper. I told him every printer in Sweden uses A4. He demanded the owner. I told him I was the owner. He asked why we don't stock international paper. I said A4 is international. The US is the exception. His face reddened. Letter is called letter because it's 4 letters. It's obvious. I mentioned most countries write letters on A4 without issues. He bought the paper but warned me he'd return it if it didn't work. An hour later he returned. It had printed perfectly, though he still seemed suspicious. I sell train tickets at Tokyo Station. An American asked what time the train to Osaka left. I said 14:30. He blinked. What's that in real time? I said 2:30 p.m. He frowned. Why not just say that? I explained that we use the 24-hour clock to avoid AM/PM confusion. He scoffed. That's military time. This is a train station. I told him it's the standard in Japan. He pulled out his phone. Tried converting times, got annoyed. This is why Japan's tourism struggles. I pointed out Japan has record tourism numbers. He ignored me. If you want Americans to come, use American time. I offered help reading the schedule. He waved me off. I'll figure it out. How hard can it be? He missed his train. He came back angry, claiming the schedule was intentionally confusing. I pointed at his ticket, clearly marked 14:30. He argued the ticket was wrong. I asked if he wanted to rebook or keep debating. He booked the next train but demanded a, quote, normal clock. I'm a bank manager in Paris. An American client booked an appointment for July 10th. He arrived on July 10th, furious that he'd missed it. I checked the record. The appointment was actually October 7th. He showed me the email, 10.07. I explained that in France, we write day, month, year. His jaw dropped. That's backwards. I said it's simply chronological order. He shook his head. The month should go first. You say the month when you tell someone the date. I told him in French we say the day first. He insisted English is the global business language, so month first makes sense. I reminded him this was France. He demanded to see the timestamp metadata. I pulled it up, clearly showing October 7th. He stared at it. This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. I offered to reschedule. He asked, in American dates or European ones? I said European, since we're in Europe. He sighed. Fine. But I'm writing it as 7 to 10 so I don't mess up again. I gently noted that 7 to 10 could also be misread. He walked out muttering, why can't everyone just use one system? I work at a duty-free shop in the Dubai airport. An American family brought chocolates and perfume to the counter. The total was 340 dirhams. The father handed me a $100 bill. I said we accept dirhams or credit cards only. He looked stunned. Dollars are universal. I told him to exchange money at the nearby currency desk. He refused. That's a scam. Airports always take dollars. I said this one doesn't. He raised his voice. We use dollars for international oil trades. You're in an oil country. Connect the dots. I explained that trade currency and store currency are not the same thing. His wife said, "We were told everyone takes dollars." I asked who told her that. She said, "Common sense." I offered to hold their items while they exchanged money. The father stood firm. I shouldn't have to. Dollars are stronger than dirhams. I said the exchange rate was actually in his favor. He waved that off. Monopoly money rates don't matter. Their teenage son finally convinced them to use a credit card. As they left, the father said, "In America we accept all money." I'd never seen a Walmart take euros, but I just smiled. Here's what I've realized after years of working with global visitors: the moment someone discovers the world doesn't operate by their home country's rules, you see genuine shock. Not anger at first, just confusion. Because to them, their systems are normal, and everything else is an unnecessary complication. They don't realize that they are the exception. If decoding this type of cultural logic helps you see the world differently, imagine having that perspective every week. Most channels react to the world. I break down how the world thinks. Subscribing isn't about helping me, it's about seeing what most people miss. The surprising part isn't the confusion. That's understandable. It's the confidence that billions of people chose the wrong system for no reason. Next time, I'll show what happens when Americans discover that credit cards behave differently abroad, pharmacies measure pills in milligrams rather than grains, and shoe sizes in Italy don't match US numbers at all. Because if you think metric conversions cause chaos, wait until someone demands a size 10 and gets handed a 43. The meltdown is unforgettable.